Hi, my name is Isaiah, and I just thought I'd welcome you first of all to Rock Solid Music Productions. And I thought it would be good just to show you around first, and then to just show you, what I do in the studio. A lot of you guys are already familiar about it, so I'm just going to do a very quick presentation and tutorial, and then just to get you guys familiar with stuff. Well, this is my private home studio, and I'll just take you around. Well, I'll start from here. Here are my Taco S8 monitors and my Tano Reveal Active 5s, which I use for near field monitoring. I run double 19 quad screens that I use with an Apple Mac G5. I run Logic Studio, and also I have an ANT8, which is my MIDI interface right at the back here, and I have a Motu 2408, and I run 8 light pipes. So I run all increments of 8 channels, which is 8 times 3 24. This is my Mackie D8B, and as you can see, it's moving faders and automation and cool baby, So right now, at the moment, it's set to run also in version 5.1, which definitely controls Logic Studio. I use a trackball mouse, and this is my trusted wireless keyboard. I have a Korg pad control, which I use for my drums especially, and I have a Samsung CQ8 headphone amplifier, which basically I use for headphone monitoring. I use it in the drums, and I use it also in the vocal booth in the corner over there. This is the screen monitor for the Mackie D8B, and over here is my Focusrite Platinum Trackmaster Pro, which I use either for vocals especially, and I use it for running like a bass guitar sometimes. I also have here the EMU MoFat, which I use for hip hop sounds and stuff, and that's the hard drive for the CPU unit for the Mackie D8B. And under here I've got my mini disc recorder, my Sony mini disc recorder. Over here is my M Audio Key Station 61, and over here is my EMU XK6 keyboard. Further over here, as we come closer, if I would just show that to you guys, this is my Roland TD 12KK. Anyway, I just thought I'd just show you that. I play that live, and I also play that via MIDI. So sometimes, maybe if we're using BFD acoustic drums or addictive drums or any drum sampler from like Motu Mac 5 or something, sometimes we can run it via MIDI. Over here in this corner is my vocal booth, and as you can see, I use a pair of Bear Dynamics DT150 headphones, industry standard. Over here is my SCZ3300A microphone, and got a music stand over here. It's padded, and that's the acoustics. Everything inside here is done by myself, and kind of good really. Then over here I got an electroacoustic guitar, as you can see, and this is my favorite Applause guitar. Pretty good. Just a little bit of a faff. And right next to it, I've got my Maverick 4-bass guitar. So use that for most of the things. So if I'm not playing the bass, play it from the keys and everything. So that's that. I've also got up here an 8kg C1000S dynamic conduit microphone, which acts as my room ambient microphone. And as you can also see up here, I've got Bosch Cube Acoustinus 5 cubes up here, which, as you can see, can be turned as of when I feel to. What I do is I use those two with my mid-range Taco S8s, and I've also got a pair of Blue Sky subwoofers at the bottom of the desk. Anyway, I thought I should just quickly do some runs through for you guys. You get to see some of the things that I do in the studio. I'm just going to quickly build a track and get something going on. So, on the desk, as you can see, if you come closer, you find out that I can actually switch between my monitoring system, I've got my main speakers over here, which sound like this. And my near field, which are my tannoys, are like that. So I'm actually going to be doing what I'm going to be doing right now in near field monitoring mode. And here we go. Alright, so we're just going to record just bars in 9, and then we just get something grooved. So let's go. Now I'm just going to add the keys onto it. So I'm just going to do this real quick, just to give you an idea of what it's like. And as you can see, I also monitor over here, so I do tend to get my levels and stuff. And going by the architecture of what I have over here, I'm actually monitoring what I do directly here in Logic. So I'm now going to get onto keys. The good thing about having the wireless keyboard is sometimes if I can't get to, like, you know, hit record on the button when I'm working alone, I just, you know, keep that with me, and then it just enables me just to, you know, do what I gotta do. So here we go. I've already got it quantized in an A swing as I'd like to have it. So my parameters are already set, and that's it. So now I just want to actually play some, you know, like mellow stuff over it. And the good thing about Logic is that it actually allows you to create another track with the very same thing on it. So now I'm just going to play what I've done already. So I'm happy, so I just want to mess around and play some riffs on it, and here we go. Okay, this is what we get. On the main speakers, so this is what we have. That's good. Now, I want to go and put some strings. So far, that's what we have. So now I'm going to put strings in it, and this is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to put strings right from the keys, and this is what we're going to do. If we listen to each of these individually, this is what we have. On the strings, I have this. There we go, the second one. So if I play everything at the same time, and try to mix it just a little bit, this is what I get. So I can work individually on my thetas and start bringing them in. This is my drums here, as you can see, but I want to start with these. Okay, so I want to bring in some vocals, and that's going to be very easy and quick. So what I'm just going to do over here is just come right over here, switch on our preamp, which already is on, and I'm just going to run a dry test on that and see that we got everything going on. So over here we got our channel for our mixer to come in. So just go. I use the ADAT, which is basically light pipe. So I just use my basic. I don't bus. I just go direct. So it makes my work kind of easy. And because I've also got the microphone over here, I'm also going to be recording directly also. I'd say the room surround. So for my room surround, I want that to be on 2. So when I do that, as you can see, that picks what we do inside the studio. Now for our, I'm going to go over to the vocal side just to make sure that everything is on and in. That's the microphone line, so I'm going directly in there. So just get to see if we've got any signal coming through. Yes, we do. So we're going to stop that in a minute. Hi, welcome to Rock Solid Music again. I'm just going to show you guys how to connect stuff in the studio and how to show you basically how a studio has been constructed. Well, as you probably can see, this studio has already been constructed. All I'm just going to be doing is just take you guys around and then show you just a few tips that you could actually have in trying to put things together in your home studio. So let's go. So let's start with our equipment list. Over here, as you can see, we have the Focusrite Trackmaster Platinum Pro, which is actually a voice preamp with a compressor and filters on it. And also below it over here is the EMU MoFat, which is actually a sampler. Over here, as you can see, is the Akai MPC 500, which is an actually brilliant equipment that you can have in the studio for a drum sampler. Over here, as you can also see, the Samson CQ8, which is actually used as a headphone preamp. And under the EMU MoFat over here is a hard drive, which is the hard drive and CPU processing memory that we actually have. The Mackie D8B that is actually used in the studio. Up over here, we have 2 connected screens because we use a dual core Mac G5 in the studio, and it's got a 2 interface graphics card which actually allows us to connect 2 screens. You can either mirror whatever you do, or you can actually have them as an extended screen program system. Slightly to the left over here, you can actually see that we do have another monitor over here. What this monitor represents is everything that goes on inside the Mackie D8B. A little bit underneath the table where I showed you the EMU MoFat and hard drive, we can actually see that we also have over here a Sony mini disc recorder. That's what we use for recording everything from the studio into the mini discs and storing them. At the bottom also, we actually have a box over here, but that's the box for the SE microphone that is used. It's an SE Z3300A microphone. If we look a little bit more to the left again, over here we've got an Akai MPK49 professional USB performance keyboard, and over here we've got the Alesis Fusion 6 HD keyboard. Now, if I bring it a little bit closer to the desk again, you'd find out that we also have over here Mackie Tabco S8 monitors and Tannoy Reveal Actives. Those are Tannoy Reveal Active 5 monitors, by the way. And the way we've done this is that these are used for flat reference monitoring, which is actually used on the near field system on the desk. And then this is also used for your general main monitoring. What we've done to this also is that looking up on the ceiling, we've actually coupled it with Bose customer speakers, which have actually got a kind of sound to them that brings about a totalness about what you hear in the studio. Under the desk is a subwoofer which is built by Blue Sky. That subwoofer, which is what you can see over there, is actually what is used for all the low frequencies in the studio. On the desk also, you can also see that we've got a COG Chaos pad, and just slightly above it is an AKG C1000 microphone. On the right side of the studio, as we come over to this side, we actually can see that we have an M Audio 61 keys keyboard, and right next to it is an acoustic guitar. So far, I'm just trying to give you an overview of the equipment list in the studio, so that when we start talking about connections, then you can begin to understand it a little bit more. In this corner over here also, we've got a 4-string bass guitar, and just over here on the side, we've actually got a set of percussions that have actually been mic'd up with a cowbell and another C1000 microphone, which has actually been connected over it. Just there on the stool, as you can see, is actually an AKG 66 headphone, which is actually connected from the desk and used for whoever plays percussion to be able to listen to what happens. Slightly above the keyboards, which I didn't mention earlier, you can actually see that we've got monitors here, and these are these are high frequency monitors, which help the player to actually listen to what's coming from there with the LFE that is already in the room. Over here also, as you can see, we have the vocal area, and this is the vocal booth that we just constructed. Just something temporary that we've made up in the studio. I also thought it would be good to take you just right through the overview of what's just below the desk itself. Over here we have the eMagic AMT8, which is the green one on top, and as you can see, that's the MIDI interface. And also below it, we have our audio interface, which is the Moto 2408. That's the Mark II, but it's got the new PCI 4 card installed into the hard drive on the Mackie. This is the audio interface, which is synced into the Mackie D8B desk, which actually is running the studio via ADAT light pipe. What I'm going to do at the moment now is just to turn the mixer backwards so that you can actually see the connections that are actually behind the mixer. I do apologize if there seems to be poor light, but just looking behind the mixer over here, we can see that over here is the power unit, and this is the console data cable that connects the mixer itself to the CPU unit. Now over here we can see some of the cards that are installed behind the desk. This is a digital I/O AES EBU card, and over here we've got 3 ADAT cards. They're either in ADAT format or TUSLink format, and also there's an optional ADAT card over here, and also another effects card, which is actually behind over here. As we come closer, we begin to see the connections here. We've got near field monitors, main monitors, you got line inputs, and as you can also see all the way to the back of the desk over there right to the end, you got both XLRs. Here, the phantom switches, which can be activated or deactivated depending on whatever kind of instrument that you're using on microphones. Basically, we have all this used and depressed because we use quite a number of phantom microphones in the studio. And just below that over there, you can actually begin to see all the inputs for the line-ins, which either can be instruments, they could be equipment, they could be synths, they could be effects units, they could be anything that it is that you decide to actually connect in the studio. Now all these are actually viable options depending on how you choose to actually have equipment connected in the studio. Just along the cards over here, which I actually didn't mention earlier on, we can actually see over here we've actually got word clock inputs, and this is for connecting things like, for example, the 2408, which we have connected over here. And as we can see, in order for the 2408 to function properly in its use with the desk, you actually have to either have a master and a slave, which actually is synced, and that way the word clock locks itself into the equipment itself in order to be able to recognize the parameters that are actually used for recording. ADAT especially and TUSLink actually make use of the word clock, especially when they're using an external interface as the projectile, or actually as the intermission between two recording media. And also this is also based on the fact that when you record, you're not bussing or otherwise, so you're just coming out directly into ADAT, and the ability for the equipment to be able to synchronize itself and send in audio data in binary format onto So I'm sure a lot of you will be saying, ah, show us the connections, show us the connections. Well, I would. First of all, our weapon of choice for sequencer is the Trusted Logic Studio 8. This has come a far, long way for us, especially coming all the way back from Logic 4, or actually Logic 3 back in the days up until now. As a result of things that have been done with software upgradings in the past years up until this precedented time, we've actually taken advantage of both the analog domain and the digital domain, within which I'll be making references to, as you can see. As you can actually see from the screen up there, we've actually loaded Logic into the Studio system already. We actually run Logic on our G5, which is actually a 1.8 dual core system, which actually enables us to make as much in terms of the full utility of what Logic provides for us. Our computer is running on a 4 gig system, and as you can actually see, we have a lot of softwares that we've actually had updated here via the Studio software itself. Logic Pro has come with a lot of installed packages, including the jam packs that you also have with it, and here, as you can see, all the disks that we've actually loaded. Also, in our Logic sequence, we've actually loaded things like the Motu Mac 5 version 2, of which I can actually show you just one of the CDs, and this is just a pack of 5 CDs, as we also have here. We have Alderton Live 4, which, well, we don't use, and we also have a host series of other studio plugins that we've actually also loaded here. There's Vocal Forge. Also, just to let you know, the computer itself has actually been upgraded to the new OS X Leopard, so it's now actually on a full optimum of a 10.5. Inside the sampler system or sampler memory, we've got things like the Giga library, we've got the PSP vintage warmers, the PSP packages and bundles, we've got native instruments, addictive drums. As you can see, sampler for drum choice, which we have. We've got BFD, and here's addictive drums also, just to mention about a few of the things that we've actually had or put into the system, as you can see. Yes, what does it take to actually have stuff connected up in the studio, and how do you go about it? Remember that in the studio, a lot of things that you were shown, or a lot of things that some of you out there have, are both analog stuff and also digital stuff. For example, digital stuff, I'm talking about samplers like the EXS24, Rob Papin Blue, you name all the sequences that you can ever imagine that are all synth based or sampler based. And then also you've got synths and keyboards and stuff which are for actual analog production, or things like the guitars or the percussion drums like I showed you. And how do you pass all this out? This is a console, which is the Mackie T8B. And the idea is to connect every equipment that you have onto the D8B itself. And as I showed you earlier on, you can see that behind the D8B you've got inputs which are XLRs, and you've got inputs with the jack inputs which are 1/4 inch jack inputs. So for example, things like the microphone, as you can see over here, have actually been connected via XLR. And when you come over to an equipment, for example, like the acclaimed PC500, you actually find out that this has actually been connected via a jack. We've taken the stereo pair jacks and taken them into a wide jack cable, and then passed it into a single stereo cable, and then fed it into the desk. For example, over here also you've got the called Chaos Pad, and if I come over to a synth, for example over here, the Chaos Pad works via USB. So that is working via USB. Now if I also come over here to the side, we actually find over here that the EMU FAT, which is actually a sampler, is actually connected and linked via the keyboard that we have over here, which actually triggers that via sending it MIDI and via sending the outputs back into the desk, which actually gives a sound that we record. We have a keyboard here, and that is also connected via analog. how do you get the sound into Logic? Question asked. Or how do you get the sound into your sequencer? I showed you preferably before our audio interface of choice, which is actually the Mackie 2408. And because we actually record via ADAT, everything that is done here in the analog domain is then passed on into the digital domain, as you can actually see. So say for example, from some of the things I've done over here, if say I wanted to record a synth, which was actually here on channel 16, and I wanted to record the synth probably from a keyboard or something, all I need to do is actually come back into the interface here from the Mackie D8B and then click on channel 16, which is actually routed to tape on my desk over here. So everything that I route here to tape is actually sent into that particular channel. So let's just say, for example, I wanted to record this drums. And that's quite easy. So my drum is on. There. So I know that my drums are here on that channel, as we can see the fader moving as I'm doing that. So on that select node, if I do that, you can actually see the signals actually coming through. Just to show you one more. If I actually wanted to record it here on channel 24, all I just do is switch off the ADAT channel here and switch it on to 24. And as you can see, I've actually got it there on 24. What we do in the studio and what other people do in the studio could actually be derivative of habits that they've learned along the way, or things that they have been carefully thought. I actually went to sound and audio engineering school, within which you actually learned to put certain parameters in the right proportion and in the right sequence in which they should go. We have here, like I showed you, the near-field monitors, and what we do with the near-field monitors is to be able to record and hear things in the flat response as you would have them. So if, for example, I play a track that has already been recorded today, I'll play it for you in the near fields as you would hear them now. That's coming from the near field monitors, which are the timelines as you can see over here. Then I can switch them and listen to them in the full surround main monitors, like I showed you before, which were actually coupled with Acoustimas and also the subwoofer on the floor. And this is what we have, which is a more punchy, bassy sound, which gives you an idea of what the music probably would sound like on your home systems. So the idea is to be able to actually have all your equipment synced into an audio interface for anything that actually would be sending the audio signals out. Now, a lot of people use MIDI interfaces for a lot of things, and especially for activating soft sends sequences and inbuilt plugins that you actually have in the system. So let's say, for example, we actually wanted to play something from the EXS24. So obviously we want to be coming into the EXS24 sampler over here. So what we want to do, I'm just going to move over here to the Akai MPC keyboard, and I'll let you realize that this has actually been connected via MIDI cables into the AMT8, which I showed you earlier on. So and as you can see, and if I came to the MIDI pedal, it also gives me the same thing. I'm not going to bore you and take too much of your time, but what I'm just going to say is that I hope that this little tutorial that I have showed actually gives you an idea of how to be able to put things together in the studio and to be able to make good use of it.